Welcome to Adventures with Captain Ray Kelly. This is primarily a drone show. We'll be sharing adventures from all over the world. We hope to have interesting guests every week, and we're glad that you tuned in tonight. We'll be flying different drones in different locations. We encourage viewer participation in the chat. If you have a question, don't be afraid to ask. Every week, we'll have another interesting guest. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We'll be sharing various adventures by our guests as well as myself. And thank you for joining us tonight. Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to Adventures with Captain Ray Kelly Live. It's Wednesday night, and I still have a hard time saying that because I did it for a couple of years on Monday nights. But Johnny and I decided to switch over, and I'll do my show every other week, and then we'll do the Fly for Fun show on the alternate weeks. And it seems to be working out real well. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. And if you saw the Facebook posts and the promo post, you know I have a great show lined up with my special guest, Mike King of Profiling Evil. And I know you're going to find him very interesting. I've known Mike for quite a few years now. He's a former police commander, and he'll tell us all about that when he comes in. But he just got into drones. It took him a while because I suggested a couple of years ago that he gets a drone, and he finally did. So I was glad to see that. And wait till you see his maiden flight. I'm telling you, it was amazing, really. And then we got Ken Gotlib of Palm Beach Aerial Photography going to be joining us a little later too, because Ken, I fly a lot with Ken down here in Florida. When I'm down here, we have these mini meetups, and you guys all know about our mini meetups. Most of the time at secret spots, but we were at one of the secret spots last week, and Ken, and I'll tell you where it was. It was the Hillsborough Lighthouse, and Ken ended up losing his drone, which is a story in itself, and he's going to be telling us all about that. But again, I have to say, thank you all for tuning in. Really, it humbles me every time, because I just figured when I started this, nobody was going to be watching an old guy like me, talk about drones. And when Johnny Alfonso, Johnny Drone Flyer, asked me to co-host a show with him, and we gave it a shot, and you guys were very receptive, and we appreciated it. Then he started doing another show, and I started doing another show on my own, and the only reason it's successful because you guys watch, and I really really appreciate it. you know and Jaybird Drone, he was number one. He checked in early this afternoon. So how you doing, Joe? Good to see you. And Al from South Florida Drone Flyers, he was right behind him. And the chat, believe it or not, the chat has already scrolled beyond the beginning. So I'm going to start right here. And I know I saw Johnny Drone Flyer, he was in there, and Scotty, Jackrabbit FPV, and Angel, the drone guy 42 Adventures. He's watching up in New Jersey. Thank you, Angel. And we got Herman, Phantom Flight 101. How you doing, Herman? I was just watching him and Lawrence. They're on Wednesday nights also at 5 p.m. And they had a great show. They always have a great show. They cover a lot of interesting um, topics regarding drones, and I've learned a lot over the years watching those guys. They go by those guys. But anyway, thanks for popping in, Herman. Appreciate it. And Captain Joe's in the house, USA Drone Flyer. and him and Johnny had a meetup. Um, and they've been flying regularly again, once a week anyway, and it's always good to see that. They're down in Louisiana, and I hope to get down there and fly with them one day, and they could take me to their secret spots. And I know I just saw TJ Grady. How you doing? Good to see you. Um, and we got Barkley 107 drones. He's also number 107 on the South Florida drone meetup list. He wanted that number and he got it. I didn't know if we'd reach it. When he was assigned the number right after last year's meetup, but we have reached 107 and 108, and now we're up to 112 that say they're coming to the South Florida drone meetup. So thank you to all of those that are attending it. Really, we're going to have a great time. Um, and then we got Gary Brant Ariel. He's number 6 on the South Florida drone meetup list. And him and Jim Beauchard and Jordy Beauchard, they're going to be coming down from Canada to join us. And I'm looking forward to seeing them again and meeting Jordy, Jim's son. So that's going to be fun. And I'm looking at the list, and I don't want to miss anybody. And we got Bill, Coast to Coast Drones. How you doing, Bill? Bill, he has a live stream on Wednesday nights too. He'll be going on at 8:30, and he always has an interesting show. So be sure to tune in for that. And we got Warren Aki Rasho. He's watching up in Michigan, and he's like a mystery man. It took me years to figure out what his real name was, and it's Warren. And Warren is coming to the South Florida Drone Meetup this year. So we're all going to get to meet him, so that's great. And then we got Danny, the View Chasers watching. How you doing? Good to see you. And hopefully Wendy's there watching with you. Well, we got John, Flying Flynn Media. Always good to see John. He's coming down to the South Florida. He's coming back, him and his lovely wife, Colleen. Be good to see them. And TJ's in the house watching. How you doing, TJ? Good to see you. Let me see. I don't want to miss anybody, but I'll get back to the name shortly because I didn't leave that much shrimp and lobster in the back room for our special guests, so I think they're just about finished. But if I didn't say hello to Marcus, I want to say hello to Marcus. He's one of the drone superstars, and he's coming back to the South Florida Drone Meetup too. And he also said that he's sponsoring it. He's got a goodie package that he's going to be sending me. And I want to say thank you to Marcus for that. Really, I do have some prizes here. I'm just going to show one of them right now. Does anybody know what this is? You can read it. It says Emacs on this case. But anyway, this is an FPV flying kit. And I won this from Spin Up this year. It's brand new. I've never flown it. I'm not an FPV guy. But that's going to be one of the raffle prizes. It's an Emacs FPV flying kit. But anyway, let me just say hello to Sergeant Rock and Charles Goluski, and I'm going to get back to the name shortly. But I want everybody in the chat to please give a warm welcome to Mike King of Profiling Evil, a new drone pilot, and he's going to be coming to us all the way from Utah. So say hello. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Captain Ray. How are you, brother?
Good to see you, Mike. Welcome.
It's great to see you.
Welcome to the drone community.
Oh man, did you never believed it would happen? I didn't either.
I know. But you went out and you purchased a drone. Which drone did you buy?
Yeah, well, I bugged you, I think, for over a year about every month asking which one, and I looked at all kinds. And I finally made the decision. I bought the DJI Mavic 4 Mini 4 Pro. Did I get that right?
Yeah, the Mini 4 Pro. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
I went out on the desert, as you know, and thought I'd test drive it where I couldn't bust it up too badly, and it scared the wits out of me. But I had a blast and learned a lot, and it's been a blast since. I've actually flown in a couple of locations. In fact, I flew in the city yesterday in the rain, which I don't know if that's good for the drone or not, but flew over where we broke ground for a new children's justice center
Okay.
to give some pictures to the
Nice.
people in charge of that. Yeah,
Very nice. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're using it, you know.
yeah.
But listen, you know, we got Alex Marks watching all the way in Greece. He must have knew you were going to be on tonight.
Ah,
How
that's
you doing, Alex?
awesome.
But
I hope
anyway,
Alex is flying places like the Coliseum and others, because that is a place I'd love to go.
and then we also got Alan, Drone Views Media. He's watching in Ireland.
Oh,
How
good.
you doing, Ireland? Alan, appreciate it. Yeah, and he's an incredible drone pilot. Just to let you know, they both are.
Well,
But
he sure has a beautiful spot to go out and fly. I know
you've
that.
been there, right? You've been to
Yes.
Ireland? Yes, I
Yeah.
know. I've never flown drones there, but it's number one on my bucket list to get out to Ireland and fly and meet Alan and Thomas. We have a few friends over there.
You need to
Darren,
you need to host a drone meetup over in Ireland.
exactly, exactly. So anyway, Mike, I know I want to talk to you a little bit about the drones first, but I know you went out and got the trust, right? You got your trust
I did.
certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And
And
had
I'm also I don't know you know this, I'm a fixed wing pilot,
right.
and I don't know that it's helped me a bit, but it was fun to go online and do that. I just don't think I'm going to do the commercial thing.
Well, okay, all right. You don't want to become a Part 107 pilot because,
Yeah, I don't know that I want the responsibility of someone thinking I know something.
well, I think you'll have an easier time passing it than most people if you're a regular private pilot. So, how long have you been a private pilot?
Uh, well, I just turned 66, so 50 years even.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow, you
I,
got it
I
young.
got it the same year I got it the same year I got my driver's license. My
That's
next door neighbor
amazing.
was a flight instructor, and he said, "I got something for you to do."
Really? You've been flying that long? No, I did not know that, but that's fantastic.
Yeah, I've always held it to private pilot and single engine, but when I was with the Attorney General, we had a state helicopter and a beach, so I got a lot of second seat on the twin, but I actually got about 100 hours on the stick of the helicopter, so that was a lot of fun too.
Very, very cool. Very cool. You know, a lot of people in the chat do not know you. A few people did though. And I was very surprised that you have followers in the drone community on
Oh my
profiling
goodness! Well,
evil.
thank you.
Really.
It's so fun to be on with everyone.
But give the viewers a little background about yourself as far as being a law enforcement officer and a retired cop.
Well, I mean, like Ray, I'm old and started a long time ago. Started back when we still had radios that were hooked to the car, and we got to see a lot of things evolve over the years, didn't we? We went from the days of wearing sap gloves. I think you remember those, Ray,
Hmm.
and a good old sap stick that you could tune someone up at 2 o'clock in the morning if you needed to, and worked my way through the ranks. I served as a SWAT officer. I went to detectives. I worked Vice for one day. I was so amazed. I went and bought.
One day.
Yeah, I made it one day. I went and bought a hooker, and I was wired up. And my sergeant was down the street, and he sent me to go make some transactions and make a case. And when this woman was telling me what she'd do for $50, I kept saying, "You got to be kidding me."
Oh, that's
He
funny.
pulled up and he said, "I think maybe you're better built for SWAT." And so they put me in a
That's
job.
a that's a good story.
Yeah.
But see, Johnny Drone Flyer down in Louisiana loves your show.
Oh, thanks, Johnny Drone. But I worked through the ranks. I went to the county attorney's office and worked there, which introduced me into the biggest case of my career, which happened to be a cult that was sexually abusing children. Ended up after 2.5 years of working that, putting 12 people in prison and thankfully rescuing 32 kids. And that propelled me into the kind of cult world. Back in the 90s, if you remember, we had the satanic panic going on. So I was hired by the attorney general to go and chase Satan for a few years, and had a team, and we investigated about 300 cases of ritual sex abuse, and then just continued to work my career. Eventually was promoted up through the ranks to division chief and then chief of staff in the attorney general, and then went on to the Intel committee for the Winter Olympics in 2002.
Okay.
Retired shortly after that and went to work in the technology world, where I spent about 17 and a half years working with law enforcement around the globe, and retired a month ago. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life.
Congratulations on that, and that's quite a resume that you have there, really.
Well, I was very lucky, as were you. We got to work with some of the finest people on the planet, and every day was a different day. It was an amazing job, wasn't it?
It was. I'd do it all over again. I really
Yeah.
would. But anyway, if anybody in the chat has any questions for Mike, put them in the chat. We'll keep an eye out for them, and hopefully he'll answer them. But we got a drone celebrity watching, just to let you know. We got DeMarco Moore watching in Arkansas.
No, I don't know who that is, and I apologize.
That's FSU Grad 03. So
wow. Well, that's
anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, he's one of the celebrities among us. So, but Mike, tell us about how you came about starting up Profiling Evil. Really?
It was the early days of COVID. Didn't have anything to do, and my kids said one day, I think I must have been like you, Ray, telling an old cop story that they'd heard 1,000 times, and my kids said, "Why don't you let us record that and stick it on YouTube and see if anybody cares?" I suspect that's because they didn't anymore. And somehow it resonated, and the thing exploded, and of course the rest is history. We were different than most of those true crime channels, as you know. You've been on the show many times, and I try not to get into the sensationalism, but I talk about stuff that's publicly available, and then I try to add a little bit of perspective to the kinds of things that are being socialized. And I never tell people what they ought to think, because I think people are smart enough. But there's a lot of channels out there that do it a lot differently, and I think they get a lot more views. I know that.
Well, what kind of cases do you cover primarily? And I have to say thank you again, and I'm going to show a little of the video shortly, for covering the Detective Dennis Forstenhoff case from the Suffolk County Police Department. We really appreciate that. But what type of cases do you feature on Profiling Evil?
Well, as you know, I mean, the midpoint of my career, I was trained by FBI profilers in this kind of art and science of profiling. So I spent the majority of the last part of my career interviewing and investigating serial predators. And in that course, I ended up really kind of focusing on behavior in predatory cases and repeat cases or serial events. And so I try to look at cases that just have a little more depth to them. I don't want to be a news channel, but I talk a little bit about crime in general, but then I talk about criminal behavior a lot.
Yeah, right.
And
it's a
Trucker
very,
Steve, just to prove how bad this is, Trucker Steve,
Oh, there it is. Okay. That was a good question, Steve. And he knows you're a true fan when you ask a question like that. But anyway,
Crazy.
it is. It is. But anyway, yeah, I find profile, and I'm not just saying it because you're a guest. You know, I follow Profiling Evil, and I find the case is so interesting. And um, I got to say, kudos to you for having such a successful live stream with it, really. And you do more than just the live stream. You're on different podcast formats and everything, correct?
Yeah, we when we started getting this idea of the podcast, we I was still working in the mapping world, and I sat down with my colleagues in Australia, and we thought, let's do a podcast in Australia and Southeast Asia that would talk about serial killers in the States and then serial killers throughout Southeast Asia, and do some comparatives to talk about the fact that human behavior is pretty consistent around the world. Victim selection, victim control, all those concepts are pretty consistent. So we broke out with a little podcast that we tried. We were going to just do one episode, thinking it might also sell some maps for the company I worked for. We called it Mapping Evil with Mike King, and the first episode blew to number 3 on Apple's podcast site. So we ended up doing 2 seasons, and in the second season, we actually solved a 70-year-old murder. So it was pretty wild.
Yeah, very, very cool. Very good. It is. But anyway, Paul has a question for you. Can you read it?
Let's see. I'm a big fan. Ray, or let's see, Wedgenbig.
Paul. His name is
good.
Paul.
Paul, thank you. Would you consider obtaining your 107 and capturing footage of your content in the future? Again, Paul, I'm a little nervous about committing too deeply, but we're going to see what happens. I told Captain Ray I was never going to get a drone anyway, so who knows what tomorrow will hold.
But I have to say, I'm so glad you did purchase a drone, because I know you're going to love it. You're going to get so much satisfaction out of it, and you're going to enjoy flying it. It'll give you a break, And,
well, get this, Ray.
Unless you have an incident like our next guest.
Well, yeah, that's what concerns me, and I'm looking forward to hearing that story. But just to show you how kind of cool this is, I happened to be talking to Dylan Round's mom, and Dylan, for those who don't know, is a young man who was murdered out in the West Desert of Utah. And I said, hey, I'm heading out on the desert to do a little practice, and can I get onto Dylan's farm and shoot some imagery? And she said absolutely. And so I went out there and shot some imagery, and it's actually going to be used in a couple of videos coming up. So we'll see what happens.
I think I have that one just about queued up, the little part that you're talking about, Mike. So talk about this.
This just gives you a feel.
Well,
this is just
what I'm doing here is I have actually had a FBI profiler named Mark Safrick on,
where the suspect
and we had Candace Cooley, this young man's mother who died. And I was just getting across the point of the fact that people are frustrated because they haven't found a body. This kid's been dead for 2 years.
Yeah.
They've got a suspect in jail.
And
I was putting across the point that
I
West
spent
Desert
3.5
isn't
years
an easy
in the
place to
western
search. And you can just
edge
see
of
from this
Wyoming
video
in my
how
first office in the FBI.
I'm sorry I didn't lower the audio.
that is right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
familiar with the weather and that kind of.
But
deal.
no,
But that's cool. That's cool, Mike.
Yeah.
Really.
Really gives an insight into how vast the area is.
I know, really. And I give you credit. You're out there flying, And
Well,
I'm
I go
telling
where
you.
there's no trees.
And Mike, I've talked to you behind the scenes about this, but I got to give you your personal invitation live on the show to please join us at the South Florida Drone Meetup, the 4th annual South Florida Drone Meetup, because we'd love to have you. The guys would love to meet you. And there's the information about it. Scroll it along the bottom. If there's anybody in the chat that don't know about it, we're having it on April 6th 2024 at the Jensen Beach Causeway Park in Jensen Beach, Florida. It's free to attend. And let me know. I'll put you on the list. We're up to 112 people that say they're coming. And then somebody wins a nice little raffle prize based on their number on the list. So,
Oh, that's
or
fantastic.
just show up and don't put your name on the list. We'd love to have you, Mike. Really, I know you're
Well,
busy.
Well,
know?
more importantly, I live in Salt Lake City, so that's a little bit of a jaunt to get there. But I understand you got people from overseas coming in.
Yeah, we do. We got two gentlemen coming from Europe. Yeah, I know. And we
Crazy.
can't wait to meet them, really. But listen, right now, if you don't mind, I want to show a little bit of your video where you and I got to know each other. And that was
Oh,
through the
wow.
Dennis Wustenhoff case on Profiling Evil.
Oh, what an honor. Thank you.
So, and thank you again. You know, the anniversary is coming up on February 15th. And if I get emotional, guys, I don't mean to. But
Interesting. I actually was on the phone today with the Dr. Phil show about a different project, and that came up again. And I mentioned, just keep in mind, there was a daddy-daughter dance on Valentine's night that's pretty important.
On February 15th, 1990, Detective Dennis Wustenhoff of the Suffolk County Police Department in Long Island, New York, was murdered as he entered his unmarked undercover police car. Dennis was an undercover narcotics officer working in the area and had been in this assignment for some time. The cause of death was an extreme trauma as the result of a pipe bomb, which was concealed either under the seat or under the vehicle. But either way, it's the cause of Dennis's death. Well, please welcome Jennifer Wustenhoff-Leese and Melissa Wustenhoff-Skelsey. They are the daughters of Detective Dennis Wustenhoff.
I'm not going to go into them right now.
So
yeah, we'll get too emotional. This,
Yeah,
you were
but
on
there's
this
Jennifer,
show
and
as well.
I know.
This
But
show
it-
wouldn't have
it
happened
meant
had you
so
not
much.
reached out.
Right. I know. And we were so grateful that you featured it. And it did, I think, bring in a couple of leads, you know, and then you were very instrumental in getting that case featured on the Dr. Phil show, which gave it a tremendous amount of exposure. So thank you, Mike, really.
What an honor. I have grown to love those kids like you do. And actually to get phone calls from them on Christmas Day is just remarkable.
And there's John Olson's a retired police officer from Suffolk County. He,
John,
he
thanks.
attended the funeral. Yep. And now we're going to get on to a brighter subject, and that's you flying drones. I got your other video.
Yeah.
You have it queued up, I should say. So we're gonna show you your maiden flight, right, of the Mini 4 Pro, and you can narrate over it.
Hey, everybody, it's Mike from Profiling Evil, and I'm out here on my maiden voyage launching my drone for the first time, courtesy of Captain Ray Kelly. And make sure you go over to his channel and check it out. He is a drone pro, former police officer that I came to know very well during the Dennis Wustenhoff case. And he kept telling me year after year, you got to buy a drone. And finally, I purchased one. I bought the DJI Mini 4 Pro. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty sleek looking. I just don't know if it can handle all the things that I'd like to do on Profiling Evil. For instance, I'd like to be able to get out to places like this and show how massive it is in some of these searches to try to pull off finding a dead body. Now, in a moment, I'm going to take this thing up and we're going to go to one of my favorite places. I'm not going to tell you where, but this is a great little place where the Anasazi Indians had carved things into the rock. It is a very special place. In some cases, these carvings go back 8,000 years. So Captain Ray, thanks so much. I look forward to being on your show on February 7th to talk about my drone experiences. And folks, thanks for tuning in to Profiling Evil each week. I really appreciate all your support, and I hope that you're sharing us with your friends. And don't forget to check out profilingevil.com. So let's get this thing in the air and see what happens.
This is some amazing maiden flight. Really, Mike.
That's because I was
Look at
going
this, guys,
so
in the
slow.
chat.
I didn't want to bust anything up.
Really.
This is incredible country, and it truly is. Some of those Anasazi carvings. Now, I've had people complain and say you're way off, maybe 800 years. No, 8,000 years according to the Bureau of Land Management. Yeah, Johnny Drone, I think you're absolutely right, because I try to answer these questions that Ray has about where is he, and I'm always wrong. Here's some of those carvings, though, just incredible.
This is amazing. What a capture with your drone, really. You know how many guys would love to fly here, really? And you do it on your maiden
very
flight.
Special. Yeah. Well, it helps to know the back countries.
Really, I'm telling you, Mike.
Well, Captain Ray, I
Kudos
got to
to
admit,
you.
that was a lot of fun. And you're going to probably see me pushing more and more video out with my drone. It was a blast to try it out, to run those batteries dry, and to have my heart race when it was 400 feet in the air. And it said the battery was dead, and trying to get it to the ground without ruining it. Can't wait to be on your show. Look forward to being.
Well, I tell you, Mike, kudos to you, really. That was great.
That was fun.
That was great. But listen, before we continue our conversation, the other guest, he's ready to come in. He's all finished with his shrimp and lobster. So
I
let me
can't
bring
wait to
in
hear this story.
Ken, because Ken is one of the best drone pilots in South Florida. And I say that seriously. I don't say it as a joke. And hey, Ken, welcome.
Hey. I'm also a Grizzly drone pilot. Sorry.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Ken. How you doing?
Hey, good
Are
to
you
see you.
Are you over your loss?
I'm over my loss, and it's quite an emotional. I probably was in shock when it happened and reacted, just like, hey, my drone just went into the water. That's exactly what I said, right?
Yeah,
You guys,
I know.
You guys were about 100 feet away from me.
Yeah.
So let's explain the situation. We were at
Yeah.
Hillsborough Inlet, which is a very, very popular place in Broward County for drone flying. And of course, we always get up early in the morning. And hello, Johnny Drone Flyer. And we always hit it at daybreak. We're there in the dark usually. So I was flying, taking pictures. I was up about 150 feet. And the birds there that morning were crazy. It was a very windy morning. And Johnny says,
all Al's fault.
No, Al was busy helping another drone pilot with an issue. He was great that morning. Al's always ready to help. And I was, the birds came really from behind. It was a flock, the proverbial
we saw them
flock
out
of
there.
seagulls, a flock, not one bird, but a flock. And they, like I said, I'm facing east. And they came up from the west, from land, going out to that big stupid rock that's out in the middle of the bay where they love to congregate. And I saw one of my strobes, like from the corner of my eye, like flying off the drone, probably from the result of the strike. And then I actually saw it hit the water. I actually saw the plop, which was probably when I went into shock. And just turned around and said, hey, I just got hit by birds. Well, luckily, it's a Mavic 3 Pro, which is a real nice drone, and my pride and joy, which is at the bottom of the bay now. But I had the aftercare, and within, I don't know, less than a few days, I have a brand new.
Oh, yeah, you received it. Yeah, and there's a little story behind that, too.
Yeah, it's another story. And of course, you get a battery because the battery's at the bottom of the bay, too. But they were real good, but it's, it's expensive. It's, It's $690 to replace it on a flyaway, which is what that they consider that. It's
With
not the full
DJI refresh, right? The
DJI
flyaway.
refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I only have one more left on my 2-year plan. So hopefully, and I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on my State Farm policy too. So we'll get
Can
it
you
covered
do that?
way. Not if I wouldn't double claim,
Yes.
but
You can. Yeah, yeah. I know what you're saying. No, we highly recommend that you get drone insurance. We
of
do.
course, of course.
And we all
I'll
most of
probably,
us
I'll
use
probably,
State
Mike,
Farm.
I will wait till my aftercare is expired, and then I'll put it on my State Farm policy, which is a great policy, very inexpensive, and we have a friend in the business.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Al Socione's daughter actually sells State Farm policies.
right, she
so-
works at State Farm, and she does a great job. But I have you have to say if you don't have a crash once in a while.
Have a good night, Alex. Thank you for watching. He's
Hey,
watching
yeah.
all the way in
Well,
Greece. It's like 2:00 in the morning.
Really? It's crazy. That's what you call dedicated drone pilots. But if you don't have a crash, hopefully it'll be out of my system. This will be the last one. Probably not. And it was good to have the guys. I was happy I wasn't alone. I think if I was alone, I would have been more going, panicking and going nuts.
Well, I tell you, you handled it so calmly. I was so impressed, Ken.
Well, we went out for breakfast afterwards and had a great
Right.
time, and I had my Air 2S. So that was I had what did I fly? Yeah, I think I did fly the Air 2S, which I just sent in for repair, and it came back and they sent me a new one, which was great. So that was
Hey,
almost.
we got John, Connecticut Pirate watching.
Hey,
He's watching up in Connecticut.
that's right. So
And Chris Hope, another drone superstar. Chris Hope's watching down in Texas. How you doing, Chris?
I have to say DJI does have a really good, repair and refresh, and they're very fast and they follow up. And then another part of this story is these things got delivered yesterday, except they got delivered to my next door neighbor, and her wacky son signs for it. I mean, who signs for packages that you don't know you're getting? So,
Oh
You know,
yeah,
I
I know.
look at
You
my
were
phone.
up in a panic at that
oh
point.
man, I look at my phone and I see it's delivered and it was signed for, and what do you do? I called DJI and they said we'll follow up, blah blah blah. But within I was on the phone with Captain Ray and I got a call from my neighbor. So
Yeah.
what?
But anyway,
what a
we
day.
also have Brad in the chat now.
Hey,
Brad's in the chat. How you
Bring
doing,
him in.
Brad? And Brad, he makes these ID holders for us, Mike. And
oh wow,
Ken knows
Very
that
cool.
already.
yeah, that's
And he's going to do it again this year for the 4th annual. Pilot Institute sends us the lanyards, So I got to say thank
Oh,
you to
that's
Brad.
awesome.
He also makes us some coasters. We all have a collection
nice.
of coasters. If you've been to the first 3 drone meetup,
I only have the one. That was my first one.
but
This
anyway,
is-
thank you, Brad.
This is such a great community down here of drone flyers and drone pilots, and it's really nice to be part of it. I got started a couple of years ago, and I was
Well,
lucky enough to meet
You were
Al
a member
Ray.
of the South Florida Drone Flyers.
Absolutely,
And that's where I met you.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we just have a blast. We're always meeting up. We're always going on Facebook saying hello from a secret spot. So it's great. It's great. It's a great hobby.
Now, have you met any other drone pilots out in Utah yet, Mike?
No,
Not
no,
yet.
and I'm trying my hardest to stay away from everybody so that I don't foul something up. And I can't imagine. I mean, I think of things like birds in the rain yesterday, and
I wouldn't fly in the rain, no.
Yeah, don't fly in the rain.
No,
But,
no, that's not good
Mike,
for the drone.
That was beautiful footage. I mean, if that was your first flight, you've got an inherent talent.
oh well, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was flying really slow. I know
Well, I mean, that's the way, if you want to get nice cinematic footage, that was beautiful. And getting those sketchings up there, those etchings, my God.
Yeah, that was
As
pretty dang cool.
as Ray
It
was
was.
saying, most pilots would be drooling now, and I was drooling watching that. It's really
Well,
fabulous.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey, Jordy's in the chat now. How you doing, Jordy? Good to see you. And I mean, I know there's a fellow called Dad Random. He flies in Utah. He's a school
Yeah.
teacher, and
Yeah, I watch his
I don't know
stuff.
exactly where, but you might want to check out his channel, Mike.
Yeah, he
Dad Random.
I know you
Very
pointed me
nice
to
guy.
somebody in Idaho, and
Marcus, he's in the chat.
that's Marcus
Idaho
Crawford. Idaho
quadcopter.
quadcopter.
okay.
You know where he flies? I'm sure you're familiar with the Snake River Canyon, right?
Oh
Mike?
yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's where he flies a lot. Anytime he buys a new drone, that's his maiden flight, sending it over the Snake River Canyon. And he does a fantastic job at it.
He also likes that school. He always goes to that play, that big school area.
Yes.
Huh.
Hey, Lee McCready, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. But anyway, if anybody has any questions for either of the guests, please put them in the chat. We'll try to
So
answer.
I've learned one thing tonight. I haven't purchased the insurance because I never buy insurance on anything. So I'm trying to decide: do I buy the DJI
It's too late now,
2-year
Mike.
Too
plan?
late.
It is
Too
too
late.
late.
You got to do it within 48 hours, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Ah,
After-
okay.
After
And
you
then the other
activate.
option is contact your homeowners, I guess.
Yes.
Huh?
Well, it's a personal articles policy. A lot of companies don't write them, but State
Yeah.
Farm does. Yes.
Hmm.
And if they tell you they don't in your area, tell them, okay, we'll go to Ray Kelly's State Farm agent then. That's what I had to do, Mike. They didn't know that they could write it here. And Michael Wright, who is a drone pilot in Texas, and Ken Huffbauer, he's up in St. Augustine. They both told me, oh, you got to get State Farm insurance. They write it. And that's what I had to do. I had to threaten to use one of their agents. And then the guy called me back 10 minutes later. He says, you're right, Mr. Kelly. I'll write it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I heard.
And then I added my Mavic 3 to it, the policy. And it really didn't increase the premium, maybe $1 or $2, if I remember right. And then, because I had an Air 2S on the policy originally, and then I added my Mini 3 Pro on the policy too now. So I have 3 drones on the policy.
Oh wow! So can I
$76 a month.
can I put
No, a
mine on
year.
your policy and pay the $1?
Yeah, I know. But anyway, hey Jody's in the house. How you doing? Drone Shots, good to see you. I try to keep an eye out for the people in the chat. Most of the time I miss them, and I apologize. I don't do it on purpose,
Hey,
especially
there's-
when we do the contest. I always call it wrong, Mike.
There's a note by Jim's Droning that says you can't apply for the care
Oh,
after 48
okay.
hours, but you got to prove that the
Oh,
drone you
that's
have
good
is
to
working.
know. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. I didn't realize you could do that.
And I guess the question I have for Jim, maybe you could put back in another note, is how do you prove it's working? Do you just send them something flying in
video.
front of the
Want a photo.
camera?
I know they wanted a photo from me and the serial number, a photo of the serial number. But they didn't actually say start it up. No,
But
they
that
didn't.
might be it. They might want some photos and some video of that drone to show that it's operational. That might be all it needs, and maybe a photo of the drone itself.
Yeah.
That might be it. Might be worth to check out. All you got to do is call up DJI, and they're very quick, on the phone.
Johnny, I would think so. I would think Al's daughter could do that for you
Yes, I think
if
she
you're
can.
interested. Yep. You could use any State Farm agent in the country. Yep. So good info here on the show tonight. So, oh yeah, here we go. They want your flight log. Okay, there you go. Very good.
Okay.
Very good, Jordy. Thank you for that info.
What if
You
you
know?
haven't kept a flight log? You've just flown.
It's automatically on your
It's
drone,
automatic.
right?
Oh,
Mike?
good. Okay.
I mean, Ken, you can explain about flight logs better than I can.
Well,
Tell Mike how they work and tell the viewers in
it's
the chat who don't know.
I'm sure everyone knows. It's part of when you open up your app and you fly your drone, it actually keeps a record. It keeps an actual map record of where you flew, how you flew, your sticks, what happened with your sticks at certain time. It's you should check it out. It's on the DJI Fly app, and when you get into it, you press profile, and that'll bring up your logs. And your logs, they automatically generate as you fly. And they always
Right.
want you to make sure you have a good link to upload, to their main bank or something.
And like what
Correct.
Johnny's saying, if you have an issue with your drone, you can send the logs to DJI, right, Johnny? That's what you're talking about. Yep, they request them. And what's this?
Interesting.
Oh, Gary, my Air Tours got crushed
Wow.
by a pickup truck. DJI Carry Fresh sent me a new one for $69. Very good,
That's
Gary.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's some story. I have to get you on the show to talk about that one.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
I don't
But,
know how to understand how that's not a flyaway.
wow, I couldn't imagine seeing that happen. Did you see it happen, Gary?
Oh my God.
Hey, Art Carlson's in the house. He's watching out in Denver, Colorado. How you doing, Art? Good to see you. But anyway, we got a great show tonight. But I got a little format, guys, as you know. And I do give a little tip of the week. Nothing real sophisticated. But this week's tip, always do a site survey when you get to your drone location. Look around. Look for trees, see the height of the buildings that you're flying by, wires, because those things can spoil your day too.
Very much.
Birds, you got to keep an eye out for
What?
birds.
Well,
Man.
So,
watch out for guy wires. Those are bad ones.
right, exactly, But that's this week's tip. And now I would like to do the monthly giveaway for January. And I have a very sophisticated system of doing it. I pulled the name out of the hat without looking. And now that we're doing a show every other week, there's only 4 names in here. But the winner of the $10 Amazon gift card
Whoa.
is Steve Wheat. Steve, you won. Congratulations. So
All right.
That's awesome.
I'll get that out to you. So
Is that Trucker Steve?
no, that's a different
Okay.
Steve. Steven Drones.
Gotcha.
Yep.
How you doing, Trucker Steve?
Yep. So and now people are saying, let's do the contest. All right, we can do the contest very
Great.
shortly, guys, because some guys had a jump on it with the numbers. So and you guys are eligible for the contest now because you guys don't know what the lucky number is, but don't start just yet. We'll do that in a few minutes. Because people, they just come in, see if they're gonna win the contest, and then they leave. No. So, Mike, I'm so glad that you're part of the drone community now.
Yeah.
Really, I am.
Well, it was an easier jump than I thought. I continue to watch your show, and I'm surprised I pulled the trigger, but it's been pretty fun so far.
Yeah, no, you're gonna love it. You really will, unless you have an unfortunate incident, and we all have them here and there.
We do.
They happen, So
You've been very lucky, Captain.
yeah, but I'm a wimpy fly. I don't take hardly any chances.
He likes Captain Ray's a live stream man. That's what he loves to do. But he loves to fly too. You got some great pictures the other day when we were out at Hillsborough.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, that's a great lighthouse. I enjoy flying there.
Well,
The sunrises are great.
While I
And
was
we
in a
had-
bucket of tears, you were taking pictures.
And you get the boats. You could, follow the boats. And
That is a beautiful place.
but the big thing about the meetups is you get to meet the other guys and you talk to them, whether it's 2 or 4. Or in that case, we had 5, if I remember
Yeah, we had a
right.
big one. That was a nice meeting.
Yeah. And then in April, we're going to have probably over 125 again that come join us and fly with us in Jensen Beach.
Wow.
So, but yeah, Angel, he, I invited him to fly with me when I got back to New York in May last year. And he came out from New Jersey, and I took him to the Port Jefferson secret spot. And Angel has no fear. He has no fear. He's a great drone pilot.
Is that the
He
guy that
sent it, and it's a harbor, right? Port Jefferson is a big harbor. If you've seen the videos, you know what it looks like. But it's a big harbor, and it's like a mile to the end of the harbor.
Wow.
Well, I've never went beyond the half a mile when I
Me
flew.
neither.
When I
Yeah.
flew, and I was getting my shots, and he kept saying, "Go for it, go for it." I says, "Well, where are you?" He says, "I'm down by the inlet." I says, "You're that far?"
Wow.
He says, "Yeah, you don't see the drone? You see the drone?" But anyway, I gave it and I went, and that day was the furthest I ever went, and it was 5,300 feet,
Whoa.
if I remember right.
Whoa.
But I just went out there for about a minute, came right back.
He's been doing shots of Patterson Falls, right? That's
Yes,
Angel's.
yes, and he shared that secret spot with me.
Yeah, that's nice. I thought you were there.
Yes, that's a great spot
It's
to
beautiful.
fly.
I had some friends out at Patterson, and we would often go over there.
Yeah, and Connecticut, John, Connecticut Pirate,
Beautiful there.
he also flew with me there. But John came over on the ferry because there's a ferry terminal
Yes.
right there. And Mike, you gotta fly there one day. If you ever come to Long Island, I will definitely take you there because it's a great place to fly from. There's so many great places to fly.
You have a lot of-
You have them out there, but
You
I
have great
filmed
spots.
John as he was on the ferry, and he was coming. And he's up on the upper deck waving to me, and we had a good time flying together. John, Connecticut Pirate, and myself. And then I took him to another secret spot on the South Shore of Long Island, the Patchogue Lighthouse.
Mm.
But anyway, guys, all right, now I didn't see any other questions for you guys. I probably missed them. But anyway, we'll do the contest now for the entry into the monthly giveaway. Put in your lucky numbers. You guys are eligible, 1 to 50. Put them in the chat. And we'll see. I'll keep an eye out for it. Hopefully I won't miss it. No, not 26, not 7, not 6. All right, now they're coming in fast. Oh, somebody's close. Oh, somebody got it. Somebody got it. Hopefully John Flynn, Flying Flynn Media got it. Number 11, first number 11. Very good, John. Congratulations. Your name will go in the hat for next month's drawing. So it's just another way to have fun on the show, guys.
That's great.
So, but it's amazing how the hour just flies by, really, But I look forward to your live stream. I know you say you're doing choir practice again on the first Monday of the month, correct, Mike?
Yeah, we brought choir practice back, and a lot of people continue to ask what that is. So I'll let you explain what choir practice is to cops.
Well, again, choir practice is a loose term, let's say. Nothing official, but it's when cops get together, or at least we did in Suffolk County, New York, and we did it in the back of a precinct, and we got together where we talked about all the interesting cases um, that happened, and it was just another bonding way that the cops could get rid of some stress also. We had a good time at these choir practices, put it that way. Right in the back of the precinct parking lot. I don't know where you had yours, Mike. Where did you have your choir practices?
So it kind of changed when I was on patrol. It was usually in a place like that where you just kind of hung out after, or in the weight room or something like that. But when I got on the tactical team, we had the city broken down into kind of a A7 kind of a system. So we had little 4-block quadrants that we had figured out, and somebody had shout out, "Hey, choir practice at A7." Nobody ever knew what it was. People listening to their scanners, it just drove them crazy. And so when we started saying we're doing choir practice on Profiling Evil, a huge number of our viewers are women, and they're like, "You really get together and have choir practice?" And so it's been fun to kind of, and now they love choir practice, and we just have a lot of fun, and we have unscripted discussions, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks for mentioning it.
Great
No,
book by Joseph Wamba, the great
right,
police officer.
exactly. You remember
Quiet
that
Boys.
book?
I read
Yep.
every one of his books.
You are right on. That's exactly where it came from. The choir
You're right.
boys.
You hit it right on the head, Ken.
10 LA cops that would get together every night when they were in their rookie year.
Great. I love. There was a guy that also wrote for NYPD. He was the brother of Eddie Money, the pop singer. Guy's name is really, he's a great writer. His name is Mooney, and his brother was the pop singer Eddie Money, who was also a cop for about half an hour. Then he became a rock star. But he went through Eddie Money went through the academy. He was a cop for about a half a year or something in New York. Yeah.
And before we close out the show, I do want to show your latest video, Ken.
Oh, thank you.
Before we say goodbye to everybody, and you put out an awesome video, Palm Beach Sunsets, correct? You can
Correct.
narrate over it.
It's a shorty. It's a real little shorty.
Every day I look at the world from my window.
Oh, look at that.
Chilly, chilly is the evening time. Waterloo sunset time. Waterloo sunset time.
Just a little shorty, and that
Very,
was,
very nice.
That was the Kinks, if you remember that group. If you're old enough to remember the Kinks.
Yep. But anyway, I know, Mike, you put out other videos throughout the month. You know, you post them on your channel. You know.
Yeah.
And I look forward to them. I really do.
And
Ken, I look forward to flying you. I'm sorry I can't fly
well.
with you guys tomorrow. Got a little doctor's appointment, but
I'm not flying tomorrow either.
Okay. But anyway, now it's the time for you guys to say your goodbyes. So, Ken, if there's anything you want to promote, now's the time to do it. Your channel. If you're not subscribed to Ken, please subscribe to him right now before the show ends.
Palm Beach Aerial Photography. I'm just happy to be here and happy to be healthy and happy to have great friends like Ray and all the other guys out in the drone community and women. It's a great place to be.
And thank you for being on. I know I wasn't trying to embarrass you with that story.
No,
people can learn from it. So thank you for being on. And I'm so glad you got a replacement drone.
Got it.
And Mike, now it's your turn.
Oh, I'm just
promote your channel and anything else.
Honored to be with you. And the only thing I'll promote, I'll stick this up here, and you can decide whether you're going to put it up or not, is I've got a book that we have pushed all the proceeds from to build a children's advocacy center.
Wow.
And the book is called Deceived. It's about a cult that I broke up, and 30 years later, the child victims in this case reached out and said, we'd like our story told. And so I went and dug through all the old files in the back room and wrote the book. And
Good
it
book.
is about the investigation. There were more than 4,000 sexual assaults of children in the
Wow.
case. 32 children were saved, but it was when we did the raid with 70 police officers. We hit a compound of 14 homes, and when we
Wow.
took those children into protective custody,
I remember
it
that
was
case.
just as we opened a brand new Children's Justice Center, which is a place where children can be physically and forensically examined in preparation for court. And so we have donated all the funds from this
Very nice.
and everything that we do on Dr. Phil or other places to building a brand new Children's Justice Center that broke ground last Thursday.
That's
So
Congratulations to you all. Everybody
Really,
who's
that's
involved
great.
with that, because that
Yeah,
means
that
so
was-
much. Really,
that was special.
Mike, I also was a civilian child investigator down here in Palm Beach County for many years, and worked with the Guardian ad Litem program here in
Oh
Palm
my
Beach County.
goodness.
Yeah.
So you know
So-
this inside and
Uh,
out, and the
very well.
challenges
Very well.
of trying to help those little tykes so that they
Very
don't spend their,
heartbreaking
and
work.
sadly they spend their lives still dealing with it. But
well, thank you both for being on.
thank
were
you,
both
Ray.
were great guests. Really, I mean
Ken,
it.
what a pleasure to be with you.
nice
And
to meet
thank-
you, sir.
And thank you all in the chat
Thank
for
you.
watching tonight.
Good night, everyone.
And don't forget,
Fly safe.
Coast to Coast Drones go on at 8:30. Ken Dono might be going on at 9.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget to watch the 5 for Fun show next Wednesday. We got an awesome guest. Johnny and I have an awesome guest next Wednesday, Lon Denard. So just get out there, fly for fun, but most importantly, fly safely. Good night, everybody.
Amen. Bye.